You know what? It was a great year. It was a great year, and the reason I say that is that it was a rebuilding year with so many young people and so many things happening. Um, if in January we said, okay, here's the team, and we were like, oh man, we're young, we're sweating it, and everybody else in the league has got veterans. San Diego State has those freshmen that I saw a long time ago are now juniors and seniors, and Fresno State, all those kids that I saw that were sophomores and freshmen are now juniors and seniors. And it was the year that I told the team all fall and early spring that everybody's looking for you, baby. You guys have been the guy to beat in this league for a while, and now you got a big target, and they're going to take their opportunities. They're ready to get you. Nevada, Air Force, everybody had veteran ball clubs, and truly we had most of the season we had 7 or 8 freshmen or sophomores on the field. So at the end of the day, if you'd have said in January, hey, you're going to have this young club, you're going to lose your starting shortstop for a lot of conference play. You're going to lose your Friday night starter for a lot of conference play. What do you think is going to happen, Coach? I go, ooh, that's going to be a long one. And instead, those kids did this. Big deal. So, good season. Good season.
So what was the difference in the tournament?
In the tournament was defense. It was a matter of defense and playing catch and scouting reports. When you have a young club, young clubs don't hit home runs. They don't hit the ball deep because they're not strong enough yet. So scouting reports started happening in about April, and you could see the center fielder playing way more shallow than he had played before. And then all of a sudden, the opposite field outfielder started doing it too. And scouting reports now are as good as they've ever been, just like in the big leagues. And so now those line drives that were falling in, we were a singles and a doubles hitting team. We didn't have much power, and they played us shallow. Now, when we were at Nevada, the other thing that happened is the wind blew in. The wind didn't blow out. So it even made it easier for them to do that. And we lined out a lot. Balls that were base hits ended up being caught by the outfielders because of positioning. So, but those things you can't control, but you can control defense. You can play better defense, and we didn't play. We had 2 bad innings in 2 days, and it cost us. And the sad part about it is it erased 30 games of outstanding championship play, just like it didn't happen. And we didn't get the NCAAs because of it.
How bent was your club, knowing that it all came down to that, just those few plays?
They were upset. They were upset. They were. I mean, if you've noticed, we've won 4 championships in the last 4 years. And the first one, there was a pile up on the mound that could have reached about halfway up those light poles. The second one was kind of a lukewarm pile up. The next one was high-fiving, and this time it was kind of just handshaking because it's become a program with a lot of expectations. So that's where we're at. Was it a good year? Heck yeah. A lot of teams would have liked to have a year we had. Is it disappointing at the end? Absolutely. But I prefer to look at it in a positive manner rather than any other way.
What do you need personnel-wise? What has to come into this program so you don't end up like you are today?
Well, a spin on that question is the things to attract those personnel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need better facilities. We need to improve our facilities. So, case in point, a young man in a junior college just north of here came down and visited us. And he was pretty much set on going to school here. Then Louisiana and Lafayette got in the mix. Now, Lafayette is some polls number 2, wherever. They're having an exceptional year. Now, Louisiana and Lafayette's not a name you throw out about Omaha all the time. It just doesn't happen. Now, have they been to Omaha? One time. But he went down and saw their place, and he saw our place, and it was facilities. And that happens all the time. All the time. So to attract the kind of guys that we need, which we need a 4-hole hitter, a mature 4-hole hitter. Now we've got some commitments from some guys who are of DJ Peterson's caliber. They're coming only because of the fact that they can be better hitters by going to UNM. But we did lose that pitcher, and we seem to lose some pitchers because of where's your locker room? You have porta potties for bathrooms. Is that all the bleachers you have? That's the truth. That's honest to God the truth.
Being the hitting guru that you are,
I don't know if I'm a guru. I can't get them to hit home runs yet.
Well, how frustrating is it to continue to keep fighting the same battle?
Frustrating. It is frustrating. But it's something that I'm passionate about and dedicated to, obviously. It's something that has to happen. And is it a lot better? Absolutely. Look at it. It's a lot better. But is it as good as UNLV? Is it as good as San Diego State? Is it as good as Fresno State's? Not even close. Not even close.
Got a two-part question, Ray. First piece is, I think most of us feel like you guys are one of the top 64 teams in the country and should be in the tournament,
Right.
regardless of what happened last week.
Right?
So then, the first part of it is, what can change either within the program or nationally so that we can get the top 64 there for baseball each year somehow?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second piece is you look at a team like, maybe a Stanford would be a great example of a team this year that's probably not top 64, but they closed their season okay, and they're sub 500 in league, but they're in the Pac-12 and they're in the tournament, right?
You just hit the nail on the head, Rob.
So the other part of it is a team like a Youngstown State is terrible and wins its league, and they get in based on 3 weeks or 3 days performance, right?
Correct.
And you guys aren't in there for a body of work that got you a trophy. So
Right.
can you do something for the program to elevate it somehow? The RPI situation with the Mountain West, we know it's a great league, but the country doesn't seem to think so.
No, they don't.
There are two problems going on there. The basketball expanded their field. So there's a few less conversations, I guess, on the back end, like who gets in those last few spots than there used to be. What can we do?
Well, you sound like I sounded last night in conversations I had with other coaches. And this is going on across the country right now, expanding the field. Because there are people that I do know on the committee, and they're in a tough situation because they're going to make somebody mad. They're going to make somebody upset. And so how do you make it fair? Because it's not fair. And there's not one person that will tell you it's fair. And it's not close to fair. So how do you exchange? Well, one reason, and you said, we're not the Pac-12. We're not the SEC. You got 10 teams in. One of them got swept by Fresno State. The Pac-12 team got beat by San Jose State. Our league continues to beat people and falls on deaf ears. Because one more time it falls back is the NCAA still hears. They don't hear the Mountain West. Who do they hear? It's obvious. The ACC, SEC, Pac-12, Big 12. They hear those leagues. And so when it comes down to the end of the day, there's no doubt which league you're in is a big deal. And so University of New Mexico is considered a mid-major in all sports. It truly is. So we have to fight. We have to fight to figure out how to make our league and people know that our league is better. So what we're going to try to do is continually try to play as good a people as we possibly can with our limited resources and travel and things of those sort. We're going to try to do what we can do. I've sent an email last night to LSU, Texas, South Carolina, Florida. I want to play you. I'll come. I have an opening in the first of the season. I'll make adjustments. I want to come play you. That's what we have to do. We have to go to their place and play. You can every year at the end of the year, and I've been on the good side and the bad side of it. Every year somebody didn't get what they should have got. Every year. So how do you fix it? Well, there's a lot of coaches in the country saying we need to expand the field. How far do you expand it? It's not right now. And the RPI, you talk to people. One, to have a good RPI, you got to have money. You got to be able to go a lot of places and do a lot of things. You can go play Clemson and lose 3 ball games and it doesn't affect your RPI. Then you come back home, and because you played Clemson, you get swept by you get swept by Air Force as UNLV did. I mean, because you played Clemson, it helps out. So, money helps you in RPI. Location helps you in RPI. The city of Albuquerque is distant from many schools, and many of these schools have RPIs 30 minutes from their school. You know, there's an RPI game on Tuesday and there's an RPI game the next Tuesday because it's close. I mean, East Coast and West Coast teams have that advantage. So that's just the way it is. But as I look at it, you know, there's going to come that day when I have a team that can go to the regional, and I want to be number 1. Because if you're number 2 or number 3 or number 4, good for you. I want to be the best. I want to win the whole thing one time and make everybody come to New Mexico and see the trophy. And to me, that softens the blow for me, you know. When I have a team that's number 1, I'm going to know it. Last year's team could have very easily been the number 1 team in the country, had the pitching matched up like this pitching this year, and Wolf were back, then I think we're scary. I think we're scary. I think we scare everybody, even Oregon State. But it hasn't all fallen into place yet. So your frustrations, my frustrations are the same. There's a lot of things that have to happen on a national level. It has to become a national voice. Will they do it? I don't know, because there is other things involved in it, and you know, those big leagues don't want these little leagues to get good. Causes them problems, but we're coming, you know. So you just got to keep plugging and do everything. But the great thing to me is we do have a good program. We have a nationally respected program. So I think if we keep plugging and keep doing the things we're doing, and our administration's supporting us with the facilities as best they can, but it's a matter of New Mexico taking pride in New Mexico.
What are the other coaches' responses when are they willing to spend the money, raise the money, spend the money to go play those games, to raise their RPIs, bring the RPI of the league up?
Some are, some aren't. Some aren't. Some of them don't. Raising money is not something that most coaches want to go do. I do. You know, I'll do whatever it takes to get to where I have a shot at Omaha. And I mean a real shot. You know, just get into regionals, that's great. We've done that 4 times. There was, 18 teams in the country that have been 4 years in a row?
21 maybe? Something like that.
No, it's on that wall right there.
15.
15 teams had gone to regionals 4 years in a row. 15 teams in the whole country, and we were one of them. And I thought number 5 was on its way, and we played poorly the last 2 weekends. We didn't play very well. Now, I said something to Rob a month earlier that I was I'd seen in my 7 years of Division I, is that I had a team that was laden with freshmen and sophomores. And freshmen and sophomores, one, they still play well. They still get after it with the same enthusiasm. But they are not used to a grinding 60-game schedule. They're not used to it. They've played in New Mexico and Colorado, and they got 24 and 25 games. And then they go play select ball, but select ball doesn't have the pressures and the travel pressures that this has. No other athlete in college athletics has to endure the travel schedule and the classroom schedule and the workout schedule and the practice schedules that baseball players have to endure. And that's called the grind. I think that's a lot of the reasons you have to go to the minor leagues and pro ball, because you got to ride that bus from Lubbock to Corpus Christi 57 times. And can you still play well with that? Now you can get on a plane and take the red eye to New York and compete.
You talked about frustration with your facilities.
Yeah.
You talked about frustration with being able to build up your RPI.
Right.
I know you have had calls from other schools. Does the frustration build so much that you think about going to a place that's got facilities that can get a better RPI?
You know what? Yeah, that's happened, and I've told them no. You know, I've backed out of any conversations, and I will continue at this point in time. I've thought about the same. I've made a personal commitment to get this done. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, um, at the end of the day, this is my state. Everybody in this state, I know. I know kids in Lordsburg. I know kids in Raton. I know people. I've coached with them. I've known them my 37 years of coaching. So that's the battle for me is I want it to happen here. Do I deal with that sometimes? Sure you do. It's human nature. But it is what it is. I'm still up to the challenge, and so are the people in the community and the guys that D. Dennis put up those lights and the guys that helped D. Dennis put up those lights and the Grady's and the other people that are helping with the locker room. And those people are important to me. I've known them. I recruited them, and to me that's important. That's an important deal. Those other places, they got a secretary, they got an ops guy, they've got the facility, the turnkey facility, and at the end of the day, it's just baseball for me. And yeah, they got that, but that, and I don't know that matters as much as the people. It's a big deal to me. So that I think about that, but nah, New Mexico's New Mexico. I still like New Mexico a lot.
Facilities-wise, what do you expect to have that you don't have by next year?
Locker room, toilets for the fans, no more porta potties, and it's turning into a good facility. It's really gotten better. It's just hard because it's a journey, and me, I want it like let's go, and it's still behind. I mean, Ken, have you been to Vegas?
Yeah.
You seen their ballpark?
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State?
Yeah.
Fresno?
No.
Fresno's better than both of those.
Really?
Oh yeah. And it's just time because I sat up in the bleachers watching the Double A's and the 3S. Cobury High had a good baseball team. They won the state and silver. And I watched those kids, and they were really fired up about being on this ballpark and playing in the championship series. And the thing that I want them to do is have the same feeling and the same opportunity and the same feel that the kids in Texas have when they go to UT and play in the state championship. That's a big deal. I want people to drive by and this ballpark and say, man, look at that stadium. New Mexico gets after it. That's what I want them to say. I want them to go, you know what, New Mexico's pretty cool. They get after it. Look what they did here. This is pretty cool. That's what I want them to say. So that's where my heart is at. That's what I think. And so I'm committed to that. I'm the guy that tried to talk Jordan Pacheco in for a 30-minute phone call to be a T-Bird at one time. So, I know all these guys. I know all these guys that coach. I grew up with them. I went to school with some of them, and it's me, and it's a big deal to me. I want to turn on the TV in June, and the University of New Mexico's hooking up with South Carolina for the national championship. How cool would that be for the state of New Mexico? And yeah, it's hard. You're right, Lee. It's hard. I mean, you go to TV stations sometimes. You go, why am I not at ESPN?
I like the West Coast.
You know the deal. I'm comfortable here. I like it here. There are a lot of challenges, but there'd be challenges anywhere. The fans were really good. I think the fans were super to the team this year. I mean, they're starting to get into it. The one thing that I got a lot of when I went to the grocery store is, Coach, man, what happened? Man, it's just a bump in the road. It was a bad year. Come on, man. We won a championship. We had a freshman, sophomore, freshman, newcomer, veteran. You know what I mean? Come on. Those were your kids. That's the guy that delivered your paper. That freshman All-American? Yeah, he was in Boy Scouts with your son. No way. Yeah, he was. That's what I like. It's a community deal here. So, yeah, we had a good year. We had a great year. We had a fantastic year. And all the things that I saw and the growth that I saw was fantastic. Did they run out of gas at the end? I was worried about it, and it happened. And it's just the way it works. When you got a lot of rookies, Rookies ain't used to that. And I could look at them and I'd say, and they would look at me after finals, especially finals. They had finals. Air Force weekend was also finals weekend. And they're looking at me like, yeah, well, they probably haven't been to bed. You know, there's some guys that haven't been to bed. They've been trying to figure out that algebra is really hard.
What do you got them in those classes for?
I want them to get a degree that means something.
Not journalism.
Yeah, no joke. I got one of those.
Week from today is every coach's favorite time of year at the draft.
Yeah.
I know you have a small draft eligible class this year, but any thoughts on who might go and who you're worried about losing?
Well, the obvious guys will go. You know, Real will go and Harris will go. They're seniors, and somebody may give Puste a chance. There was a lot of talk about that. And then Seipel will still be here. And then Thompson is one you're worried about a little bit, but I don't think he'll go. If somebody chooses him and chooses him late enough where that amount of money doesn't, there's no way you give up school for it. So we're worried about that. But you know, you're in the kid business, and this is one of their dreams. But you want to make sure Major League Baseball doesn't take advantage of them financially, because college degree is a big deal. So that's about it. I mean, you know, there's not going to be any surprises. Those guys are obvious. There are not very many guys draft eligible. Yeah.
Think Walker will get a chance?
Oh yeah. You know, conversations were in the top 10 rounds because of his command. Now I know Josh Walker throws harder than he threw, but he's like, you know, like the big leaguers, you know, like Gray. Gray can probably throw it 97, 98, but he pitches below that because he can locate better with that. He can pitch. But, you know, and as time goes on, maybe you get a little better, you can throw a little harder, you can locate the same. So Walker will go because he has 60 command. Chase obviously will go because of his tools, and he hit better this year. And Real will go because he's turned into a decent catcher, and he's got the body that they want to see that'll hold up in Pro Bowl. And then John, maybe, I don't know. John will go on potential because, I mean, if you watch him take BB and he's hitting them over the lights, you go, wow. But he's got to take that to the game, and maybe somebody will take a chance on that. Maybe that happens. And he's turned into a decent, respectable outfielder. So, and a great kid. That kid will probably be an Air Force general someday. He's smart. He's really smart.
With tools like his hands, you talked about his hands a lot over the time that he's been here. Like
John?
Will Mathis, yeah, I'm talking about Puste. Like Mathis had tools, didn't play really, but got to pro ball. Things started to happen.
Yeah, how about that, Will Mathis? Yeah.
Did it happen for John?
Sure it
Because of
could.
the hands?
Sure it could. John is when John gets confidence about what he can and can't do, he has the same tools of Justin Howard, who led the country in hitting, and who's in Double-A and has hit 300 for several years now. John has the same tools, but the mental side of hitting is just as important. John hasn't grasped that yet, and then they take a chance that he does figure that out.
How about your summer coach? You know, you got Team USA. I guess just what does it mean for you to kind of, I guess, guide and coach players from around the country?
Well, I'm excited because I get to be with Alex Bregman. We're both pumped about it. We've been texting each other and things like that. But it's kind of cool to see that kind of talent all in one team. But you got to play the Cubans. Those guys are 30, 31 years old, and they beat the Yankees 17 times, which is way fun. What a great challenge. But I'm excited about that and humbled by it, And you're going, wow, can I yell at these guys? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. I'll lose it somewhere along the way.
What's your schedule? When does it start? How's it going to play out?
Well, I got a house for my wife, a new house, so I'm moving furniture back and forth from the old house to the new house. And then I'm waiting on the cable guy and the gas guy and, and the blind guy. And I'm doing all that. And then I've got to get everything put to bed here, uniforms picked up, make sure the facilities are on the right track, and blah, 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 blah. And then I got to go see my new grandson. And then as soon as I get back from that, I've got to go to Cary and start practicing and see who make decisions on players. And Dave Van Horn's our head coach and from Arkansas and longtime friend, and Rob Childress and Steve Rodriguez from Pepperdine and Rob Childress from Texas A&M. And we'll start trying to put a team together that represent the good old USA and see what we can pull off, you know. But they haven't hit. So they said, hey, Coach, you're on here because we haven't hit in 20 years. Thanks.
Anything else, guys?
All right. Thank y'all.